I had this passion for programming. Try to build your own portfolio now itself. Do as much as you can, everything will follow. Everyone should try to become a problem solver. Normally, to become a Google developer expert, the first thing they look for is how much you're contributing to the community. They can just wake up from the bed and start working, and they have the flexibility of doing things. That is one of the marvelous technology, right? So I look forward into that future. Like, I think that's the future. AI is the future.
Robert Collier said, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
Wow, that's a really great quote. Success truly takes a lot of perseverance and patience. Looks like our today's guest has a truly inspiring story.
This is a story of a Google developer expert who is passionate about technology and is well versed with software.
With 12 plus years of experience building large scale web applications, he's always keen to learn and implement something new.
Today, technology is at its peak and growing each and every day. With people like him to guide us through the minimal difficulties in this field is just great.
He even has his own blog, Undefined Girl, where he shares his experiences, experiments, and thoughts, alongside providing answers to all our questions.
From electronics and telecommunications engineering to becoming a front-end lead in web development, he has aced it all.
From attending Chrome Dev Summit in 2016 to being on the panel of speakers at Chrome Dev Summit in 2021, he surely has come a long way.
He has been a part of Code Nation and various such conferences where he shares his ideas and perspectives.
He continues to excel in his field each coming day.
Hello everyone, I'm Shruti Humbal
And I am Varun Patkar.
and we guys are the host for today.
Let's put our hands together for Mr. Shidhin CR.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Shidhin sir, for joining us today. So as we all know that you did EXTC engineering from the University of Calicut. So what motivated you to get into the front-end development and UI development?
So one thing is that even though I did electronics and engineering, that was not my passion. So I had a reason to take it because there was a kind of a recession in 2000, 2002. So most of us were not taking computer science at that time. We took electronics. But even then I had this passion for, programming, and I found, JavaScript was much easier for me to learn. And in fact, in my first company, I had to work on the UI technologies. So from then I learned most of the things and, took this path.
You are truly a motivation to anyone who wants to pursue UI development.
Yes.
As we all know that every college student is looking forward to their college placements. So what do you think that a student should work on for their placements?
So I would say that, okay, try to build your own portfolio now itself. Like, for example, be active on open source software. There are a couple of advantages of being, actively be in the open source world, because you get to know a lot of top developers from different companies like Microsoft, Google, etc. And if you actually build something and you can showcase that as your achievement, and that, I think these days companies actually giving more value to them if you create something than if you learn and pass some aptitude test. They don't care, but you should try to build something. And if you are passionate about programming, just do as much as you can, everything will follow.
That's really helpful for the people looking forward for the placement.
Yeah.
So nowadays every company has a coding competition round. So do you think competitive programming is important for the interview?
You should learn it, programming, but not just for placement. Ideally, what my suggestion is, everyone should try to become a problem solver. You look for problems in your society or whatever it is. So when you see a problem, you try to solve it and use this programming skills or programming languages as just a tool to solve the problems. You can even, sometimes you can solve the problems using programming languages, or sometimes you can solve them without them. But ultimate aim should be, problem solving. If you do that, most of the startups and you see, right, they're actually solving the problems. So I would say yes.
That's very insightful.
Yeah, so and you also work for Flipkart. We all know that the technical rounds of the FAANG companies are very difficult to crack. Can you tell us how you prepared for your Flipkart interview?
Honestly, I didn't prepare for it. So for my Flipkart journey was something like this. There was some kind of a walk-in round. So they called me for it. I just went there, and I was, till that time, I was mostly experienced like 3 to 4 rounds of interviews. But for the Flipkart interview, I had around 8 or 9 rounds of interview. I just went there on the morning. I came back in the evening. The whole day was the full interviews. But I didn't actually prepare for it, but mostly my experience and all, I was able to answer most of the things. Like it was mostly coding challenges, algorithms and stuff. Even though I didn't study any of them in my electronics and engineering part, but I was kind of know them from the uh, my work career and all. So it was all good.
So you also have a blog called Undefined Girl, where you share your experience and thoughts. So I was just curious, why the name Undefined Girl?
So so when I started my blog, I actually wanted to wanted a different name. I didn't care about SEO and all. So I took two terms from the JavaScript that was mostly I used to deal with. One was undefined and one was null. So I just combined them and put it. And I felt that when I actually created it, it's something unique. So I used it. That's it.
That's interesting.
Sir, talking about your blog, we all know that maintaining a blog requires a lot of dedication and motivation. So what motivated you to start that blog?
It's mostly I write my blogs, for myself. Initially, I started it all with myself. Like, as part of the learning process, I used to create notes. At the end of the day, I, combine all these notes to make it in a proper direction so that it'll become like a blog. And so once you have this blog, right, you can publish it. So initially it was just for me. For example, I was learning AngularJS and stuff like that. But then I found that, okay, some of the terms like ng options and all were, very difficult. Every time I had to go and read the documentation for it. So I wrote something about it so that I can come back and look for myself. And later I published for others.
Yourself and then helping your other people. That was the goal.
Yeah.
So we have read your blog, sir. They are really informative, and I'm sure it has helped a lot of developers out there. So can you tell us, why did you take a break after 2016?
It was not deliberate. Like, I actually started remote working much all before this pandemic. I started remote working from 2015-16. It was a new thing for me, whole remote working setup. And at that time, the same time, I was even, transforming into a full-time front lead role. So there's two things. One, I was trying to, be comfortable with the whole remote setup. And it was pretty new to me. The second thing is my job was demanding more from my side. So I was pretty busy on the work side and I couldn't write anything. Even though I used to, keep notes from myself, but I couldn't publish any of them. That's what happened.
Pandemic has changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
So typically people write their blogs in Medium or WordPress. Your blog is in Octopress. So why did you use Octopress and how was your experience using it?
Yeah, now it's not in Octopress. I again rewrote it in something called 11D.js, and which is pretty amazing tool. But I'll tell you about Octopress. Back in the day, when I started my blog, WordPress was the first option everyone would go for, because it's easy to set up and all. But for me, the main problem was that WordPress is like, it's a dynamic blog. Every of your articles being saved into a database. And when you, visit a page, it fetches that from the database and, show it. I didn't want that. Like, I didn't want to, create a database and server and put it in. So Octopress was like a static site generator. So it generates your whole blog into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which is I'm very comfortable to work with. So I used Octopress, and I even published my blog into GitHub. And GitHub was giving some, free static page hosting, which worked very well for me. Yeah.
You gave a talk on the progressive web apps at the Chrome Dev Summit in 2021. How was your experience as a speaker?
It was good. Even though the whole online conference thing was pretty new, and it was a good experience as well, because through online conferences the content can reach more people than attending a real event, right? So it was a good experience for me. Also, I was one of the organizer of that event, so both of this was overall, it was a pretty good experience, I'd say.
That was really informative and an interesting also.
Thanks.
And you are also an engineering lead at Google Developer Expert. So what was the journey to becoming a Google Developer Expert?
So the thing is that normally, to become a Google Developer Expert, the first thing they look for is how much you're contributing to the community. So back in the day, I was writing more about AngularJS. I started learning the things. I wrote a mini blog post about AngularJS. I took some of the sessions. I was in Dubai when I became a Google Developer Expert. So I took some of, I actually gave some of the, conference talks about the progressive web application. And it was really new at that time. And I think the interview, and I kind of know pretty well about the whole front end thing. So this all led to, get me a Google Developer Expert thing.
Thank you for the tips. I'm sure many of our viewers want to become a Google Developer Expert.
Of course, you guys actually should try, but before that, try to give more to the community. So these things will follow automatically.
So since COVID-19 has hit, everything has gone online. So how was your experience going into work from home? Were there any challenges that you faced with this changing dynamic?
As you said, right, I didn't feel any change at all. Like, even much before, I was doing the whole remote working thing. So it was not new to me. But I saw that, okay, many of my friends, they had issues. Like, they were going to the office, and when some of them felt relaxed because they don't have to commute. I mean, they can just, wake up from the bed and start working, and they have the flexibility of doing things. But it also has issues. Like, even sometimes I feel that I have to, want to go to office for at least twice in a week, because I also miss talking to people. Like, online will reduce that a lot. I mean, you miss chit chatting, you miss talking tech, you miss colleagues. This can happen with online.
Spending time with our friends.
Yes.
So considering your experience, you said that from 2016 you have been working from home. So which do you prefer, work from home or offline mode?
At this moment, I would say a hybrid approach. Like, I want to go to office like twice in a week, so that I can, attend the meetings in person, like talk to people in person. So solve all those problems which I have. And then the other 3 days, I'll probably work from home, because then I can, plan it accordingly, and I'll get some very focused time where I can work on it. Less distractions. I'd prefer that.
Yeah, so we all miss our coffee breaks in our canteen, etc., with our friends.
Yeah. Yes.
In this new technical age where computers write code for you and new languages and frameworks keep popping up, so how do you keep your skills current?
So I usually, check Twitter. I read a lot. So my day starts with my previous saved articles or the latest articles which I pick from Twitter, Hacker News or Medium or whatever. And so I also have so many friends on Twitter. They kind of post. So Twitter is one of the main source of finding latest stuff. If anybody wants to announce a new framework or new technology, they usually come and post in Twitter and Hacker News. So I'll pick it from there and read more about it. All the other things which I want to do it, I go find articles. And I think these days people are creating a lot of video content, which is also pretty good, because even if I'm just doing some kind of an exercise or something, I can watch a video. This is my general learning things.
So everyone as a person that we consider of as a role model. So who do you regard as a role model in your life?
Um, I wouldn't say about life though, but if you just ask me about my technical stuff, then there are many. Like there are so many people I admire in the whole front end ecosystem. Especially I can't name single person, but then I would say the whole Chrome team. People are amazing there. Like they create a lot of content, they teach a lot. They are really brilliant. But if I have to say one person's name, I would say it's Adi Osmani. He's the engineering manager in Google Chrome team. Just not because of he's too good at technical stuff. I also admire his personality, like the way he be friendly with the whole community, different framework authors, and if you just follow him on Twitter, you would actually understand it. Yeah, he's one person I would look forward to.
That's amazing.
So can you tell us what you're currently working on?
Currently, my role is more of an engineering manager. So these days, I'm working on React Native, React, TypeScript. That's my work demands. But other than that, I usually spend some time on new frameworks like something like Svelte, and on the app development side, I also try Flutter, things like that.
That's great.
Hope you get success in everything you do, sir.
Yes. So now let's lighten the mood with an amazing game known as higher or lower. So we'll give you two things. You have to guess which one will have more searches on Google. You'll only have 3 seconds to answer, so choose wisely.
Okay.
So starting with an easy one.
So what do you think has more searches on Google? Windows or Mac OS?
Windows.
That's true, sir. Windows come in with 95% and Mac OS comes in at only 5% search.
Okay.
Going to the next one. Python or Java?
Python.
It was a really close battle, but you got it wrong. Java has 52% and Python has 48%.
Nice. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Moving on to the next question. React or Angular?
React, for sure.
No, sir. It was really close with Angular coming in at 51% and React with 49%.
Wow.
Yeah, so the last one. Facebook or Google?
Google. No, maybe Facebook.
It's Facebook. It was a really close one. So Facebook has 50.6% searches and Google has 50.4%.
Yeah, so I was close.
Yes, sir. Now, going back to the questions, we all know that there have been so many developments in the front-end web design. So what new softwares or frameworks are you really excited about?
For the front-end stuff, so I was really excited about the whole progressive web application stuff. It's kind of gave us the privilege to compete with the native applications. So any new technology, and there is something called Project Fugu, which is the web capabilities project, which is basically adding new features to the web platform that can even compete with the other platforms like Android or iOS kind of thing.
So is there anything exciting on the horizon that you can tell us about?
So the whole thing about the technology is that, so some of the thing I really wondering is, like, recently GitHub released something called Copilot, an artificial AI tool that can actually code. You just command it can code. That is one of the marvelous technology, right? So I look forward into that future. Like, I think that's the future. AI is the future. So there are many things that are actually happening over there, starting from your Google Voice or Apple Siri, or the Copilot, which is writing programs for you. I mean, there are so many things that is actually coming on that way. One example is there is one tool which I use personally. It's called Crisp.ai, which uses artificial intelligence to reduce the background noise. I mean, you don't need a hardware to do the active noise cancellation. The software does this job pretty clearly, in a very awesome way. So I would think that the future is going that direction.
Yes, sir. There have been many developments in the field of ML. We are looking forward to that too. So yeah,
Yeah.
now let's say that you can make one problem in your life miraculously disappear. What would that problem be?
Now, I would say I have a problem because I'll tell you that. Have you heard about the Magpie developer problem? So the Magpie developer is something like this guy always picks he's like a magpie, always picks the shiny things. Every now and then anything new comes in, he'll be excited about it, go try it, and spend a lot of time on it. I'm that person. Like I'm a Magpie developer. uh, I even change my code theme or code editor every month because I can't use one single theme for more than a month. I have to change it. This is how I do it. But sometimes I feel that okay, this is kind of a problem for me because I always try new things and I don't stick on it. This is something I might want to change.
We'd like to make that disappear from our life too.
For those of you who don't know, since I live in Dubai, so what do you think is different in the lifestyle in Dubai compared to India?
There are so many things. Like Dubai is I found Dubai is a very safe place for women and children and for all others. That's because they have a very tough laws and everybody kind of respect it. I mean, if they don't respect it, they'll get huge fine and they might even go to prison. But people really respect it, and because of that, the crime rate is very low. I find it when I was driving in Dubai, like when the pedestrians pass, people will actually stop the car, give way to them, and then only they'll go. Even I didn't feel any kind of people struggling on the road or fighting on it. I never seen that. In that way, I found Dubai is pretty amazing. Um, and they kind of built everything like an artificially built everything to give a best surrounding for you. But sometimes I feel that okay, because of this whole artificial thing, the life can become a bit robotic. You don't see greeneries and stuff like that there. Even they made it, you don't feel like home. But Dubai is very safe compared to India.
We do wish that we can visit there someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, of course you should.
Instagram is filled with amazing pictures of nature. So do you enjoy nature and photography?
uh, um I enjoy nature for sure, but I'm not a photography person. So the thing is that I used to practice mindfulness a lot. um, One thing is that the nature, looking into the nature will actually give you much mindfulness practice. So I don't, and I'm not actually not an Instagram person though. Like I don't spend much time on Instagram. So the only thing I actually do is that sometimes the photos I take about nature, I'll just post it there. That's it. But otherwise, but I enjoy nature a lot. That's true.
So your pictures were really good.
Thank you.
So what do you like to do in your free time? What are your hobbies?
Um, Mostly coding. I used to coding, but then now these days, after the whole pandemic, since I'm working from home, I used to spend time on exercises. But if you ask me about hobbies, then I started drawing. I used to draw mostly cartoons and caricatures stuff. Now these days, I use Apple Pencil and there is an app called Procreate. So I use them to scribble some cartoons and stuff.
In pandemic, I'm sure everyone has explored the creative side of their.
Yeah. Everyone became so creative after the pandemic.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, we come to the end of our second episode for the season 2 of the CSI show. Thank you so much, Shidhin sir, for taking out some time for us. It means a lot to us.
It was amazing to get to know you, and we hope that you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. And to all the viewers out there, thank you so much for watching the CSI show.
Make sure to like, comment, share, and also hit the bell icon so that you do not miss any update from the CSI show. Until the next episode, go ahead and make
It
Happen.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. And thanks for inviting me for this show. It was really good.